Okay, this is round two. This ended up being a very long game, but also very educational. I thought I was winning throughout most of the game. In actuality, I was not winning. It was either even or I was at a big disadvantage. It's surprising how strong the bishop pair can be in the end game. Okay, here we go. I started with e4. He played the Sicilian. Now, I really did not want to play the basic line of the Sicilian, so I played the c3 line. I used to actually play this, but I haven't played in so long. I have to do it pretty much by ear. Knight d5, pawn d5, c takes d. I found out later using ChessBase that these were, for the most part, the correct moves. He plays pawn e6. I play bishop c4. My threat is to weaken his pawns, give him double isolated pawns, but they're on closed file. But again, it's early in the game, so they can become a serious weakness. He avoids that and attacks my bishop. Now here I had to decide on d3 or e2. I think d3 would have been better, giving me some possibilities against the pawn. Maybe I can force him to weaken his dark squares, even though he hasn't castled yet. But in actuality, I played e2. This is very passive, playing the bishop all the way back to e2, whereas playing the bishop at d6 would have given me some possibilities to increase the pressure. I don't think I wanted to do this because of knight to b5, and then I gotta find something to do with that bishop. I don't want to exchange it off this early in the game. He played pawn to d6, threatening my strong center position. I castled. Very basic, get your king castled. He played e6, getting ready to castle his own king. I continued to develop my minor pieces. He played a6. I didn't think that that was a very sound move, but I couldn't find how best to take advantage of it. This knight is still actually supported by that queen. Again, ChessBase doesn't exactly recommend bishop d3. It thinks bishop to f4 has better possibilities, and I agree. I thought long and hard about this move. But I want to play here so that I can play the knight back, and if need be, or once I play the knight back, I'm committed to playing the pawn forward. If the bishop was here, would block that, but the bishop could have ended up at g3 and allowed that possibility. Pawn d5. Oh, this bishop is actually here. Pawn d5. He locks up the position. I felt good about that. Still thinking if he castles, I can have some possibilities directly against his king, which is probably another reason why the bishop should have been here, because that would have allowed at some point the queen to come out. Knight d2. I want to prevent knight c4. In my analysis, I probably should not have worried about knight c4 in the first place, or prevented it by just pushing up the pawn and keep my knight in his aggressive position. I didn't want to do that because bishop comes over. Now I need to do something with the knight. Well, the rook was going to come over anyway to protect that knight. So I probably should not have worried about that. It's going to take him longer to bring his rook over. I did. I played back. I really felt comfortable about this because I'm going to get. I want to play the bishop, the pawn f4, f5 anyway. So I thought that was okay. And at this point, he played. This is the important point in the game. He played knight to e5, and I saw that. I thought that if he takes it off, sacrifices his knight, I'd have the better position because my pieces would be more active. Plays the fork. Now, when I take off the pawn, bishop takes off, knight comes back. This pawn is covered, and if he exchanges queen, I have my rook active. I thought that made for a better position. What the chess base actually suggests here is that white does end up with a better position if you go with e4. I'm sorry, knight to e4. The pawn takes bishop, pawn takes pawn. You have the d6 square and some possibilities against f7 because the rook is now on an open file. Of course, I didn't want to do that because then I'm left with double isolated pawns, but they're on a closed file, so in many cases it can end up being okay. What I actually played in this position was bishop takes d4, queen takes d4, knight attacks, queen takes queen. Now in this position, I'm feeling really good about this position. He has a bishop pair, but this bishop is actually shut down. So he wants to bring the bishop out. What I should have done is went ahead and exchanged off a pair of those bishops. If I played a4, I probably should have been more conservative and just got my rooks active. And if this bishop ever plays on that long diagonal, try to exchange it off for the knight. Rook d8. In my opinion, black was playing very passively, just exchanging off pieces. Okay, I played a4. He played d4, now he plays d5. I played a5. I'm actually feeling good about this position. I forced his knight back, but then I probably should not have freely played my knight back. I need to get the knights coordinated on d6. Something like that. e4 probably was not a very good move. Oh, I see what I did wrong. This rook is actually still here. Rook takes, king takes d8, which I thought he would have taken with the bishop, and the bishop still does nothing against that pawn. That was actually very good. He's trying to get his king active better than what I was doing, and once active on the queen side of the board because he's trying to go after that pawn. Knight to c2, I want to defend that pawn. Here comes his king. Rook to d1 because now his bishop really can't go after that pawn. Here he goes, exchanging off pieces again. What I probably should have done, just start to make my king active, cut this off, maybe even exchange it, then cut that off. My king, it's time for him to become active. And that's very important. In the end game, make sure your king is active. Don't just leave him on the edge of the board like I did. I couldn't think of anything better, so I went ahead and exchanged off rooks. At this point, I'm pretty confident that he's going to accept a draw. I mean, he's just exchanging off pieces. Now, I also didn't feel that the bishops were doing anything. This bishop Once I play here, here, and here is going to be exchanged off. Or so I thought. This bishop is pretty much blocked in. He really needs to play f6. My answer to that was just f4. a7, f4. I'm thinking, go ahead and try to exchange off that bishop. King c7, king f2, bishop d7. I'm thinking, okay, I get the long diagonal. On g6, I'm not sure if I should have done that. Maybe I should have just went bishop right away. Because if he doesn't accept the draw, I gotta get active. I didn't want to get active because I felt that the bishops can get to each side of the board a lot quicker than my knights can. But sitting back being passive, you just lose the game. Now I'm trying to get my king into the center of the board, and he's there. Actually, much better place than Black's king is right now. But can he stay there? Because at this point, I did something really stupid. I should have went ahead and took the aggressive position, if possible, or at least played the bishop over. I was so confident that he was going to take the draw by repetition, I just played my bishop back, the king back. And this time he played his knight to c6. I played f4. Again, I'm thinking those pawns are going to be exchanged and it's going to be a draw. Played knight takes. I played take. He played take. I played take. Okay. Pawns are equal. My pawn chain looks very nice. He does have the bishop pair, but I'm thinking that's not going to be enough to win. And it's not, the bishop pair is not enough to win unless your king is very active and your opponent's king is very passive. My king became very passive. c5 check. King g2. Now I'm very comfortable in the game because I'm thinking when I start advancing these pawns, all the activity is going to be over here. This king is going to be way over there. The problem is I never started advancing the pawns. And I think it's very instructive how he's playing his bishops. He is not going to allow me to exchange off the knight for the bishop. I probably should have just left my, I don't know. I need to keep this king away. Make my own king active. If he goes for a pin, I release the pin. Knight c5, he's offering an exchange of another piece. I take it. I probably should not have taken it, so that I cover more squares and keep those bishops out of the game and keep the king away from the game. Instead, I make the exchange, which actually brings his king closer to the center. I play knight e1. I need to play my king. I'm just allowing his king to walk right into the center of the board. Because, in my own defense, I'm thinking this is a draw. I'm just moving pieces around. You're not realizing how important and how aggressive that king is becoming. Before the king was way back on b6, I should have activated my pawns. Now I'm actually thinking that this is a drawn position, that there's no way he's going to be able to do anything. My knight is right near my king. My bishop protects the knight from any type of pins. I think I'm going to be okay. Now the pawns can't do anything. And I'm really not paying close attention here because I'm thinking these bishop moves don't really mean anything. And now I actually look and I say, oh man, that move does mean something. He's going to block, threaten to win the knight. I exchange off. He's going to have a pass pawn. And he can stop mine, but I'm not going to be able to stop his. And that's exactly what happens. F4, D4. So now I hope that some little combination with those pawns can get me through there. G4, D3, G5, H5. Now it probably would not have worked in the first place, but once he plays H5, that is causing serious trouble. I only considered him taking off, and then if I can exchange 2 pawns for the 3 pawns and win that pawn there, I'd have a draw. Once played right there, then he knows he's going to have a pawn left on the board. So I go ahead and play it out. He has to stop the pawn from advancing. If he takes here, then pretty much guaranteed a queen, which is a good move. And now I just say, oh well. I don't think I do that just yet. Play back to F3. He plays D2. I play D7. If he gets queen, then I get queen, so he can't allow that, so he takes it off. I take off at D2. Now I'm a pawn down. He did something that was very interesting. Took a G5. I take back. Probably isn't exact, but in the final analysis, I can't stop both of those pawns. Okay, that was a 60 move game. I lost it. Better luck in the next round. Thanks for watching.